Well, good Saturday morning. I'm meteorologist James Hopkins. Thanks for joining us on 10 Tampa Bay Plus and First Coast News Plus. We have Lee Southwick, and we got a lot to get to. We've got some activity going on in the tropics. The good news is not really much bothering us right now. So what we're going to start with is our weekend forecast. Here it is Saturday morning. We want to talk more about what's going on this weekend because people want to get outside and enjoy. Looking kind of nice here in Tampa. How are you looking over there in Jacksonville, Lee?
You know, not too bad. I currently am taking a live look out at Neptune Beach, and in fact, we can show this to our viewers too who are watching. Take a look at this live camera, and what you're going to see here is the beach with a red flag flying because we have a high rip current risk today. So the weather overall, nice with those lower rain chances. I just want you all to be aware that the wind is picking up out there. So not only do we have that high rip current risk, but for those heading to the beach, I wouldn't do an umbrella. Or if you're trying to do a picnic, you have to make sure the plates and the napkins are weighted down because the breeze will only continue to pick up. You can see right now the breeze already at about 12 miles an hour, and it will only get stronger as we head into the afternoon hours. So our temperatures right now sitting in the 80s across the board. But guys, it feels more like summer out there this weekend. We do have a heat index that's already bringing our temperatures into the 90s here at 11 a.m. Hard to believe that fall starts on Monday when it feels more like summer this weekend as opposed to last weekend. But as mentioned, overall the weather, not too bad. Our rain chances are low. You can see some of those showers way offshore. Our rain chances are going to be staying low at about 20%. That's mainly south of Jacksonville today. So it's more about the breeze. If you're going to the beach, yes, be aware of that isolated coastal shower, but be more aware of the wind. Right now at 12 miles an hour for St. Augustine and Mayport, and we'll watch that continue to get stronger. So for your beach forecast, as mentioned, high rip current risk out there today, lower rain chances. Your winds out of the northeast, 10 to 20 miles an hour with some stronger gusts. Gusts at the beach could be up to about 30 miles an hour. And we'll have a surf height here in the Jacksonville Beach area of 3 to 4 feet. Also a burn time of about 20 minutes. So maybe you want to go to the pool because if you're trying to go swimming, I wouldn't go swimming unless you're an extremely strong swimmer because of that high rip current risk. So if you jump in the pool, I think it's a perfect pool day. Honestly, good bit of sunshine, temperatures upper 80s to low 90s for some of you inland. Here's a look at those highs across the board. You can see that some of you will actually reach 90 degrees, maybe 91, maybe even 92 in places like Waycross. Others of you closer to the coast, closer to the beaches, your temperature staying more in the middle to upper 80s. So maybe you're going to sing out loud. Maybe you're not swimming, but lots of events are happening on the First Coast this weekend. Today it's a warm day. That breeze will make it feel better. Same tomorrow on Sunday, some breezy conditions helping us feel a bit better. And I can't rule out a few isolated showers, but really not a washout. I'm only going to go with a 30% chance of rain on Sunday. So Sunday's going to start off with patchy fog. We had fog this morning across the First Coast in areas. Some patchy fog in Duval. Some of it was up in Waycross over to Brunswick, Keystone Heights. Same thing tomorrow morning. And then in the afternoon, it'll be similar to today, maybe just a few more coastal showers moving on shore. Still breezy, winds out of the northeast, 10 to 20 miles an hour. So we're going to get to your Jags forecast here coming up in a couple of minutes. We're going to do our sports segment next, but just to let you all know, going to the Jags game, just stay hydrated. We'll break down the hour by hour for you, though, coming up. Meanwhile, our low temperatures continuing to warm through the 70s. I got a lot of, where's the nice 60s when we step out the door? Even inland spots, you were in the 50s earlier this week and last weekend, and I wish I had that for you, but it's going to be a bit warmer, mild, muggy out there. So on Monday, same story, still some scattered showers. It's still going to be humid, temperatures in the 80s. And when we say scattered showers, we are not talking about a washout. Rain chances right now, I hold them at about 40% Monday and Tuesday. Some models earlier this week were coming in at 60% Monday. I'll let you know, at least as of right now, looks more like 40, but still either way, 40 to 60, we're talking scattered shower activity. So while it might be nice if you have outdoor weekend plans to have the drier weather, we do need the rain. Recently, we've been getting coastal showers, but then inland spots have been staying dry. And so when we look at our drought monitor here across the First Coast, our inland spots are abnormally dry. So where the rain chances are today, more of those coastal areas. Same tomorrow, more coastal showers. We need some rain for those inland spots. But when we take a look at my 7-day forecast, we don't have overwhelming rain chances. They are staying lower. Now, as mentioned, Monday is the first day of fall. Will it feel like fall here in Jacksonville? No, it's going to be in the upper 80s and lower 90s. But what about over in Tampa? Let's go get a check on that now.
You're right. Things are looking pretty good, and what we're going to have is kind of the same thing that you're going to be dealing with. Our humidity is going to be going up. Unfortunately, that's going to be going into next week. While it feels pretty great this weekend, we are still going to have a little bit of a heat index. But same as you, our rain chances are very low. Take a live look around, and you can see all of our areas, kind of the same thing. We're dealing with lots of sunshine across the area, which is nice. And you see there downtown Tampa, Armature Works, St. Petersburg, Lakeland, and all of it looks great. There's downtown Tampa looking good. You see just a few clouds out there, a little bit of haziness. We do have actually moderate air quality for the day today. It's supposed to get better by tomorrow, but your 86 feels like 91. It's because your dew point is sitting at 70. Same thing. Looking out over the bay from St. Petersburg, you see the beautiful pier out there. And same thing, Wyndham Grand Clearwater Beach looking great. So your beach forecast for today is a good one, a really good one actually, as our temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 80s this afternoon. We do have a UV index of 9, and your water temperature, kind of refreshing for this time of year, 83 degrees. So that's good if you want to take a swim, and your marine forecast is looking pretty good as well. We do have a moderate chop in the bay, but you see your winds northeast now. They'll shift a little to the north-northwest later this afternoon, about 10 knots. Your seas at 1 to 2 feet, and again, that moderate chop in the bays. Talk about the heat and humidity. Again, not oppressive, but temperatures right now are in the low to mid 80s for most of us. Port Manatee still sitting at 79 degrees, which is nice with that north-northeast flow pushing it in off the water. But look at these dew points. We're back into the 70s. Did see some 60s earlier this morning. But it's funny that one of the drier spots there, Tampa, at 70 for your dew points. The rest of us, anywhere from about 72 to even 76. And you can see it is up just a little bit. Look at Lakeland, 5-degree difference there. So it is gradually going to go up. We do have a feels like temperature of 96 in Lakewood Ranch, Wesley Chapel, 95, Winter Haven, and 91 for Tampa. We will continue to go up from here. It looks like our forecast is going to be probably back in maybe 96, 97, 98. But look at our dew points. And again, 70 in Tampa, but Jacksonville, 71, Gainesville, even Tallahassee sitting at 70. So again, you can see that those dew points are going up, and what we have down to the south for places like Palm Beach at 74, Fort Myers 72, even Miami at 75. Unfortunately, it looks like we will be getting back to that as we go throughout probably midweek, maybe mid to late week. Satellite radar looks good. Again, the shower activity is along the east coast, south of Jacksonville, and we have a trough that's set up over there. That will bring us back some rain chances as we go into Tuesday. So ahead of that, rain chances still looking pretty low. And again, today and tomorrow, very low at about 10%. You see that trough coming up from the south on Monday. Looks like our best rain chance is going to be on Tuesday with this moving its way in. And you see on your futurecast, just not a lot going on. We'll see some coming down the I-4 corridor. It doesn't look like it's going to make it too far past Orlando before it starts to break up. That's why our rain chance is only about 10%. And really the same thing for your Sunday, as we'll see those coastal showers on the East Coast move their way across. They'll make it, some of them, into Polk County, but it looks like across the bay we are still looking pretty good. So there's that trough hanging off. Just hanging out there along the coast. It does push its way up. Doesn't make its way up to Jacksonville on Tuesday, but it does make it here. And you can see it just kind of hangs out. But it's going to be brief. You see it dissipate. And then here comes our next weather maker. Looks like this one's going to be an even better chance of rain for both Tampa and Jacksonville. And it's a cold front that's going to be coming in for next weekend, Friday and into Saturday. You see your mid-level moisture jumping up a little Tuesday into Wednesday with that trough. But then as we go Friday into Saturday, it comes back up with that front. And it does look like now, was watching some forecast models earlier in the week showing this one actually stalling to our north. Now, because if it stalls to the north, the better chance of rain is going to be to the south. So if it stalls just to our north around the Nature Coast stretching up through Jacksonville, then we get a better chance of rain here. But now it is looking like this one's actually going to come through, which again is kind of unusual for this time of year. That's why your rain chances Sunday into Monday actually go down, because it looks like that could push its way down to our south and stall. So again, like previously mentioned, Here's our dew points going up. 74 Wednesday, all the way up to 75 on Friday. And you know what that means. There's your heat index. 97 today and tomorrow, and then all the way up to 100 by Wednesday. It does go down Friday, Saturday, only because you're looking at a better chance for rain. Cloud cover, rain chances always take that down. But again, look at your forecast, and this goes all the way through your 7-day forecast. The best chance for rain is going to be down to our south. But again, we're looking at Highlands, Hardy, DeSoto, and Sarasota counties would be the better chance of rain. Not really looking at too much overall, maybe anywhere from a half an inch to an inch. And again, this goes all the way through Friday. It does look like Friday into Saturday will be the better chance of rain. Speaking of our drought conditions here, Lee showed you what you have interior of Jacksonville, and you can see ours not looking too bad. Now, we are looking at a little bit above average for the end of September to October for our rain chances, and it just doesn't look like we're going to get too much back into that rainy pattern. And this is one of the things that I think kind of everyone's been complaining about around here is our allergy forecast. It is medium to high, and you'll notice that the difference is that usually in the spring we have this is usually your trees here. We are seeing grass, so that's a little bit different out there. So that is our extended forecast with some rain chances coming in next week, and things are looking good. Again, Lee, you were talking about your Jaguars, which unfortunately, first game of the season, beat my Panthers. You did have a delay there for some thunderstorms.
Oh.
Yeah, this forecast looks a little bit better, doesn't it?
Okay, so you're a Panthers fan.
Yeah.
Interesting. My fiance is also a Panthers fan, so I had a great time at the game. Him, not so much.
Of course.
What about your college football team? Who's your college team?
I went to UNC Charlotte, and they didn't have a football team until I graduated. Then they got a football team. but yeah.
Well,
I grew up.
You can still cheer for them.
Yeah, of course. But now, of course, living in Myrtle Beach for 10 years, I cheered for Coastal Carolina, and I think I have my wife hooked now on South Florida. USF, we watched the game against the Gators, the Florida Gators. Very exciting football game. So we're going to take that on as our new home team here in Tampa, the USF. And I've got your forecast coming up for them here in just a minute.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's start with college football then. I gave you a dig as a Jags fan, but you dug me right back since I'm a Gator, so that's only fair. And now we're going to hurt my heart, and we're going to take a look out at Florida State University. Noles also having a great season so far. So take a live look. It is beautiful, Tallahassee. Look how gorgeous it is. Nothing but those blue skies. Also, of course, we're keeping an eye on Miami Gardens. There's Hard Rock Stadium. Not the best camera. That's what I could find for you all because, of course, we got two big games for us here. So if you're going to Tallahassee, kickoff at 3:30 p.m., it's going to be hot. Right around 94 degrees. Good bit of sunshine. I think there's only about a 20% chance of rain over in Tallahassee. It's more all about the heat. Please stay hydrated, stay safe. And then if you are heading down to Miami Gardens, Gators taking on the Canes, 84 degrees. So it's a night game, 7:30 p.m. And so it'll be, back in the 80s. However, it is humid there. And so feels like temperatures are going to be in the 90s at kickoff. So still prepare if you are going to Miami, or maybe you're traveling there right now and streaming us. Be prepared for it to be hot and humid. Hot, more humid, feeling worse than it feels right now in Jacksonville and Tampa Bay. So something to keep an eye on. And for the Dogs, UGA, you are off this weekend. So let's move into the NFL. Tailgating tomorrow. We got a home game, a big game. And if you are out there early preparing, temperatures getting up into the 80s. It'll be getting a little warm out there. And then during the game, our high temperatures will be right around 86, 87 degrees. It's more about the heat and the humidity. It will be feeling quite hot at times. Now, if you have nosebleed seats, you might actually be the winner because I think the higher up you are, the more of the breeze you'll catch. While today has a breeze, tomorrow, same story. Still breezy out there. So hopefully that breeze helping you feel a bit better. But same story, too, about the water. Please stay hydrated. Don't forget your hat and your sunglasses. It will be sunny at times. Now, 30% chance of rain, mainly for our coastal areas tomorrow. I can't rule out an isolated shower moving through, but most likely, at least most of the game, I can say, will be staying dry. So here in Jacksonville, it's more about the heat and humidity for our Sunday. All right, now I guess we can go over and get a look at USF and their forecast.
Yeah.
What do you guys got over there?
Exactly. Well, really kind of the same scenario. We're looking at the heat and humidity. Take a look out over Raymond James Stadium. Got a lot going on, not only at Raymond James, but next door to Raymond James, because, Steinbrenner Field's right next door, which is where the Rays have been playing all year. This is their last home stretch, game 2 of 3 games. And this is the last chance you can get out to catch them. But there you go, looking out over Raymond James, 86 feels like 91. So your forecast, again, the kickoff's in 45 minutes, where South Florida is going to take on South Carolina State. Looks to be about 88 degrees, again, feeling like maybe 93. Lots of sunshine. And again, a little bit of humidity out there as well, so you'll feel that, especially as we get towards the second half of the game, where you're going to see those temperatures up already about 92, possibly 93 when you go through that fourth quarter, and that 93 will feel like about 97 degrees, so it's going to be hot. But it's kind of the same scenario. We don't have much of a breeze out there. It's kind of light, between 5 and 10 miles an hour, so you're not going to get much relief from that. Where you're going to get the relief is if you want to go to see the Rays versus the Red Sox. It is game 2 again of a 3-game final home stretch, and first pitch is at 7:05. But look at 6 p.m. It's still 91 degrees, so it's hot. A lot of sunshine, though. That's great news. By the time we get to that first pitch, it'll be 88, and then as we go through the game, we'll be in the low 80s by the time the game comes to an end. So it's not going to be too comfortable. UV index is 9, so it's very high. Got to wear that sunscreen. And again, the good news is that really sunset's going to be shortly after that first pitch, so you should be good and find some shade. So Bucks home opener tomorrow against the Jets. So if you're tailgating out there, by 11, you're looking at about 86 degrees, lots of sunshine, and again, our winds out of the northeast, not much of a breeze there. We will start to pick up a few more clouds as we go throughout the game. You're looking at about 89 at kickoff, which is at 1 p.m. Now, the second half, you're looking at low 90s. And the good news is for our rain chances for tomorrow, they're going to be a little closer to sunset because they're coming off the East Coast. So not much is going to make it across there, but you're going to see, again, a very small chance for maybe the drive home. Depends on how long it takes to get out of the parking lot. And don't forget, you need to get out of the parking lot quick because there's another Rays game coming up tomorrow. That one is at 7:35, but you should be out of there by about 5 o'clock, I'd say. So things are looking pretty good there. So now that we talked about how wonderful our forecast is going to be for this weekend.
And James, sorry to interrupt.
No, go
I
ahead.
just want to, are you a Rays fan?
Well, see, I'm from Charlotte, hence the reason why I'm a Panthers fan. And I grew up a Braves fan. We didn't have a team. So I could easily be swayed to become a Rays fan pretty easily. I've never been to a Braves game, so it's not like, really that big. It's just that's what they always had on TV growing up in Charlotte. But, this is the last stretch. And, of course, next year they're going back to Tropicana. So, but unfortunately, they're not making the playoffs. So they do have till the end of the month. You're just going to have to travel to go see them. And your baseball team?
I like the Rays. I was trying to find some common ground when it came to sports with us.
Yes. Wow.
So I like the Rays. And you know what, too? I was raised UNC Tar Heel. I don't know how you feel about them, but my mom went there to Chapel Hill.
Nice.
Okay.
Well, growing up in the Carolinas as a young kid, when it comes to basketball, you got to pick. It's either Carolina or Duke. You got to pick one. And luckily, my whole family, we're all Tar Heel fans. So
good. Pick the right team.
Yeah,
Love
exactly.
that.
So when it comes to basketball, now Belichick and his football team, we'll see how that goes. Maybe a couple years in the future. But
that's why I don't have a college football team because Gators and UNC and what was so surprising is I was all on board for North Carolina for basketball, and then my Gators took it all. So I am a very confused sports fan right now.
What's nice to have the choice to be able to pick between winning teams. Not like me and the Panthers.
You're right, which I don't have with football, so at least I had that with basketball. All right, now let's get to tropics, as you said, because it is active out there in the Atlantic.
Yeah, we got Tropical Storm Gabrielle, and it did actually strengthen. Here is your latest run. It didn't do much overnight to early this morning, but now it's up to 60-mile-per-hour winds. It is moving to the northwest at about 13 miles an hour. And the wonderful news with this, what we've been talking about all week last week, all the way leading up into this weekend, is this is going to be no threat to our coast. coast, which is nice because forecast models are in very good agreement about where this one's going to go. Now, it is forecasted to become a hurricane. That's going to be sometime, maybe even early tomorrow morning. But I want to point this out right here. So here is Bermuda. So that's the good news. Not only good news for us, but good news for Bermuda because it's going to be passing to the east of them. So they're going to be on the west side of the storm, which when it comes to a passing hurricane, we know is the best side to be on, especially if it's a little bit further away. It does look like it's not going to be too far away from them, but it's going to be far enough that looks like the main impacts are going to be the high surf and then, again, possibly some high winds. So we're going to see a Category 2 storm possibly as we go throughout Monday. And then, again, you can see that it's moving its way up and out. It's getting picked up by the jet stream. It'll pick up a lot of speed. But I want to show you this. And we always show you these spaghetti plots, but it's actually pretty rare how you see even as we go all the way into Monday night, look how packed these things are. That means we got very good agreement. That's high confidence in your forecast. And again, there's Bermuda. And tracking this, whenever we were looking at forecast models towards the beginning of the week, the European model had it coming here and then making this abrupt turn. So it's all about finding that weakness in that high pressure, the big ridge that's over the Atlantic. And again, there we go with it moving its way up and out. So here's your individual forecast model runs of the Euro and the GFS. These are all the ensemble runs. And again, you see kind of Bermuda kind of stuck under here. So that's good news there. And again, that one's not going to be a big bother to us. This is the reason why, and we look at this tropical steering, and there is your high pressure. So as it finds that big break in the high pressure, that's where it starts to go. Now look at the high pressure move to the south, and look how it's kind of meanders back and forth there. But look at this. I want to show you this. Now, as we go, here's Tuesday, September 30th. Look how far this stretches. This is the time of year that this typically happens. And this is why we watch for end of September, early October impacts to our coast. Now, I'm not saying there's going to be. I'm just saying this is why we see the shift. So we're going to go ahead. Again, Gabrielle's not going to be a problem to us. So we're going to go back and we're going to look at the one that came off the coast of Africa just a few days ago. It's only a 20% potential for tropical development, but this is only over the course of the next 7 days. What we're looking at is the potential beyond that, and the good news with this one is that there is pretty much zero agreement with the forecast models. European didn't even like this thing to become a system at all. And our next, if it does get a name, it would be Umberto. Of course, we have Gabrielle there. And things have been relatively quiet, and this is one of the reasons why, and it's pretty easy to see here. So there's Gabrielle. This is why Gabrielle's been so slow to develop, is look at all the Saharan dust. Look how thick this is. And you know what's right in here, and this is the wave that's coming off the coast of Africa. This is one of the reasons why it is going to be very slow to develop. There it is going into next week. It's pretty easy there to see that circulation right in the heart of all that dust. And even as we go Thursday, Friday, into Saturday, it is still there. And what you don't see, again, is very good circulation here. So, and this one's the European model. There it finally starts to pick up something maybe Monday. And it's just, again, forecast models are not really liking this one as much. And Lee, have you seen anything that is getting you kind of concerned over there on the East Coast?
It's really not, because then the other models that I see, when they try to form it, they end up recurving it out into the Atlantic too, continuing that path, which I feel like I want to say quietly, I don't want it to end up doing something different, but that's the trend that I've seen. And so currently not concerned. I would say there's no immediate concerns to us here on the First Coast, and I don't want to speak for you either, but likely Tampa Bay. But of course, it just, as you were describing it and explaining it all, that's why we still watch this every day, multiple times a day. So if you're watching at home, there's no need for any immediate concern. Just make sure you still have your hurricane kit ready to go. You got your plans in place, but no need for panic. We'll let you know if anything changes. But right now, there's nothing that is really worrying me at the moment.
Yeah, and here's the GFS model, of course. Here's Gabrielle moving out, and it's trying to develop a little something there. There's Wednesday of next week, but again, just see how weak that is. And then it looks like it tries again as we go September the 28th. So the wave is still there, the energy is still there, but you can see it up here. So having it make that curve out. And really looking at the same thing with the European model is that it doesn't really like it at the moment. It did just yesterday. And so you see how quickly things change. And you see all the way, there's Tuesday still in that dust. And then as we go into Thursday, Friday, just nothing. And again, which is good news. Trying something right here, just north of Turks and Caicos, around the Bahamas. But again, even your forecast models beyond that, just again, nothing much, but maybe seeing, there it is right there. You can see what is left there. And this is, again, September the 29th, which is good news. So here's one of the things that it could potentially help us if we do get some development out of this. And this is good news, of course, for both of us here. Take a look at your mid-level moisture. So we're talking about this cold front coming in for next weekend. And again, forecast model, especially the European model, has changed because this one right here is the European model. This is different from the run I looked at yesterday. So here's, again, as we go into Wednesday, here comes the cold front Thursday into Friday. And then the run that had yesterday had it kind of stopping right there. It didn't actually show it coming all the way into Tampa. It kind of had it stretched across right here, barely making its way into Jacksonville. And now look at this. Look how far it goes all the way through. Now I want to back this up right here and show you something. Because as it starts to push its way in, okay, there it is. Look at the very corner of the screen. So there would be where it thinks could possibly see some circulation, and then there is the front pushing all the way out. And then it takes a while for these wind barbs to catch up. Then there is the circulation. So this is kind of the forecast trend. So we're going to need to wrap it up here just quickly. This is what we're looking at as we go into the future, as we're going to see, again, the 24th through the 30th, still looking at the western portions of the main development region. But you see, those chances really aren't looking that good. So that is fantastic news. So we have hopefully root on some of our sports teams to have a great weekend. And, of course, this is what you and I will keep a very close eye on as we go throughout this weekend and all the way through next weekend.